At the same time, I did win for my high school yearbook #1 person that you would wish to be stranded on a deserted island with. So.
Ben, that's a heck of a video for testing a NEXO controller. Or a heck of an intro for testing a NEXO controller. I think we're going to keep it.
Okay.
So, friends, neighbors, and of course the YouTube comment section, welcome back. So if you remember from our previously posted NEXO video, we got a DOA controller from NEXO, or Yamaha in this instance. And we got a new one, and it works. So we did, in fact, have a DOA controller. As luck would have it, Ben and I spent about 7 hours on the Ashley system last night that has roughly the same controller and the same GUI.
Not roughly. It's the same with different colors.
Sorry, my mind just went to horrible jokes. It's just like Earth. We're all the same. We eat the same food. Anyway, so we're setting up the ID14 speakers today just to confirm that this works. So the system that we're going to deploy this into, the client wanted access over everything via the controller. So basically, I mean, his request was very simple. It was just, I just want to be able to turn the sub on and off with the controller, which going with the Ashley stuff last night, I think we could probably do easily. Would you concur there, Benny Boy?
Probably.
So I have been very used to the DBX world. As a matter of fact, we have these out because I took them out of the system that we reinstalled the Ashley amp in. So I liked the DBX Zone Pro controllers for a long time, and they all worked with these kind of things. This is the ZC1, the DBX ZC1, and you could basically loop them all together with RJ45s, and they just had these little dip switches, and they would come configured from the factory. So like, okay, this one's a volume controller. You can assign it to sort of whatever you want. It's very simple. I mean, this is just an analog attenuator. And they had all kinds of different ones. You could select different modes and all that kind of stuff. So we're used to speccing maybe 3 of these with a system. So there would be one that would be configured as a master volume. Other ones would say have a mic input, an auxiliary input. The cool thing about these NANORM controllers, and even with the Ashley controller that we were playing around with last night, is that you can just click into this and you can get to different things. So with something like this, you only need one. So when you click in source, you could say analog A, B, C, D, SPDIF, Dante. You can do all this kind of stuff. And then I believe that in the control software, at least with the Ashley stuff that we were playing with last night, you can, make stuff disappear so that you don't have to have a bunch of superfluous menu items and all that kind of thing. So one of the things that I wanted to play with today was, one, just making sure that these controllers were going to work. So what we did realize with the Ashley one last night was, can we confirm that we couldn't use a network switch? They had to be directly connected to the amplifier?
Yes.
So I think that's probably good. So we just have another 48-volt PoE injector here, so that this will sort of operate on the same network. So that's something that we have to play with also, because although no, this one, the Ashley amp only had one RJ on the back. It was just for the controller, but this one has remote control and then a separate one for Dante. So we just need to double check that to see how this thing appears, because again, because we're installing it, we have to be able to support this technically. So we're not just going to put stuff into a case and say, hey, good luck. So we are going to keep getting this relatively hooked up, and then I will check back in. All right, Benny boy, what do we got?
Got me with my tired face.
So we have figured out that it is damn near impossible to have a separate zone on this be controlled to mute the sub. So the only way that we can really figure out how to keep the relationship between sub and top together is to link them with a zone, control them with the controller, and what we've come up with is we do have to put a rocker switch in line. So we're just going to put a little Carling switch in line from the output of the amplifier to the sub. So because they don't need to attenuate the volume and they just want to be able to turn it off and on, that would be cool. Ben did try it over GPIO. So like I think that is like one of the funniest things of like, how do we just mute the sub? We went through this whole thing of making, trying to do a contact closure thing, which in my mind seems like we could have done relatively easy. But why did you say the GPIO only controls zones?
So if the GPIO could control a channel or an amp channel output, it would work. But I can only control a zone with the GPIO. So I have to either split the tops and the sub into separate zone, and then I can't control the overall volume level because the control knob won't control an input. It'll only control a zone also. So you can either get independent volume control, which then messes up your relationship, or you can turn the whole thing on and off, or you could turn the sub on and off, and you lose the relationship because then it can only control the volume of these. So it's a little annoying that I can't just control an output channel with the GPIO, but here we are.
I guess I'm surprised because I would have thought that GPIO being just a basic contact closure could just be like, oh, this is off now.
Well, I mean, I don't see why there would be a world where it couldn't physically be possible. They just didn't build the software to do that.
So the other thing that we found out, I don't know if I mentioned this in the first cut of this video, was that the GUI is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So the controller GUI between the NEXO amplifier and the Ashley amplifier is the same. So we were configuring an Ashley amp, which I was going to document last night, but we were under the gun. I will probably show you guys that case because it's cool. It's actually using a Bose sound system of all things.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's very good, actually. It's pretty cool. So anyway, I would say that this is probably a success. What else do I want to tell you about this? Oh, so to use these controllers, you do need a PoE injector. You can't put them on a switch. That does have to be directly in line with the amplifier, which it does assign these an IP address. So it's a 192 bank IP address, but if you put it into the switch, it gives it a 169. We did play with that last night with the Ashley, right?
Yeah, well, it just wouldn't pair. Like the controller would turn on from the PoE, but the amp wouldn't be able to see it.
But the GUI, Ben's been doing this on his phone, which is pretty cool. So the amp has its own Wi-Fi. So you just log on to the amp's Wi-Fi network, and then you have this control.
Give it a second.
Well, it's on film, so it'll take forever. But the amplifier is cool. Yeah. Ben and I were playing, like I said, we were playing with the Ashley amp last night, and the DSP within the amplifier is great. I imagine that the EQ and the compressor look the same on this as it does.
Exactly the same.
So it's great. Like, I am really happy with the way these speakers sound. For little baby point source speakers that are coaxial, they sound great. I am really excited to show you guys this Flypack that we're working on because it is very, very, very cool. We just had a little bit of a snag with just getting this configured, but these controllers are nice. So if you're an installer, I mean, you can make stuff. You can toggle between sources on these, mix 1, mix 2. So we can make them all appear or just one appear. So, if you're installing these kind of things, it's very, very cool to, just disable all that stuff so that, the end user can't get confused. So, like this is going into a video Flypack. So they're not audio engineers. They just need very, very quick, very, very quick and simple controls. I mean, again, the customer wanted to use an analog volume controller with this. And one of the reasons why we went with this is the ID series are specifically very, very small. So we liked the form factor of them. And then also it's a Dante addressable amplifier and it had the little controller. So, this stuff is great. And like I said, I'm really excited to show you guys the Flypack for this. If you don't follow LM's channel, it'll probably be on that. Although Ben and I have 4 of these Flypacks to build as soon as as soon as we get this stuff sussed out. John is from our engineering department is just finishing the first drawing now, so we have 4 weeks to build 4 Flypacks that are going to be rather heavy in the integration world. So I'm sure that one of our Sleepless Nights videos will end up here. But if you don't follow LM, please follow LM. It's just LM Cases. Our official YouTube handle is LM Cases 1985. But anyway, this is where we're at with this particular project. I think we're good to purchase. So now this is our demo system. We need to buy 3 more of these. And I think we're good. So other than the controller being DOA when we got this has been great. So as our first NEXO system, I'm sure there'll be more to come. So anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye.